and now my grandma's cooking. We had some kind of freeze. YouTube's been really screwy for me lately. I'm not sure about you, Gabe, but
Yeah, no,
I've been
well,
having
the
some trouble
live
with it.
has been really weird. And okay, I think I got it to pull back up on my computer. I usually like to try to pull it up on my computer off to the side so I could kind of like follow the chat and stuff too a little easier.
Well, that's smart. I got to think about starting to do that.
Yeah.
Huh. Now my phone stand won't even hold my phone. Usually I use like a
I
tripod.
think what happened is if you exit out of the YouTube app or like minimize it or anything, then it just like does not like that at all. So because I
Yeah.
know when I did it, then it just did the same thing to me. It
Sorry
crashed.
about that, guys.
Yeah.
My apologies. So we were talking about combat knives, then we were talking about that guy said the thing about daily care, then we were talking about TRC and their fit and finish, talking about what I was gonna send you, and then you know what's really funny? That I got recently? These
Microtech.
goofy these goofy micro techs. And the funniest part is I was trying to sell the combat Troodon. This a buddy of mine hooked me up with this. They're like $520. They're super expensive. And I was gonna sell it then because I was just doing a video on it. So now I can't sell it. So I was like, you know what? Let's do a destruction test on a Microtech Combat Troodon Gen 3. That's where my
That-
head goes, right? Like
yeah.
let's waste a couple $100 and literally drive it into the a freaking piece of wood over and over again until it fails.
Do you got like a
Uh
car hood or something you can try to stab it into?
yeah,
See if the locking mechanism fails. Like I definitely would have some like heavy duty gloves.
concerns. Yeah, big time. But then they had a little I got a little code for a percent off of the new Zero Blade Play one, and I always wanted like a pointed one, so I said screw it, and I got one to test
I
it
would
out.
have liked to seen you do a destruction test on that Montana.
MKC.
Yeah, Montana Knife Company.
uh,
Finally a knife company for men who cried watching Brokeback Mountain.
Dude, finally a knife company for guys that enjoy having sex with other guys. It's great. They're fully protected in this community. Guys, welcome back. Those of you that popped over, I apologize. That was my fault. Extremely overweight people just have problems with live streams. Apparently, it's a thing.
Well,
I broke it.
YouTube live streams are kind of retarded too.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude, it's Giga Gay.
yeah, it is. It is. It's giga gay. Um, so is there any blades you're kind of looking forward to? Uh,
Okay, I'm glad
going
you
into
asked.
going into the next year.
Okay, so the weird part is I usually find out about new stuff like a week before it comes out, right?
Hmm.
There was some talk about TRC doing a different type of combat knife. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm excited about it, but I actually get more excited about the older things. And this company, Freeman Outdoor Gear, that make these big hard use Magna Cut folders, and they sell them at Blade Show. They don't really have an online presence. They have a website, but they don't really sell them online. They used to make like field knives, and I never knew that. And I messaged the guy who was the owner of Freeman Outdoor Gear, and he found me one and on eBay. So I'm getting one of their fixed blades. So that's something I'm excited for. Really
Peterbilt
excited
knife
for.
guy said I find out about new stuff about 1 to 2 years later. I'm kind
Yeah,
of the same way in a lot of ways. Like
big
I,
time.
and usually if like something new comes out too, I'm pretty reserved on it, and like especially if it's like a new gun, a new caliber, a new steel, or something like that. I like to kind of see how it actually pans out before I
Yeah.
just hop on it. Uh, Peterbilt knife guy, I was actually gonna bring you up in just a second because he recently got the very good knife company Revelation, and that
Oh, I
looks
like that.
yeah, it looks really cool. And I had an idea, so I was talking with Jacob, and I was like, you know what you should do is make the same blade shape as the Revelation, but use the walkabout handle and give it like a 6-inch blade with a Revelation blade shape, but use the same blade handle. I don't know why I was telling them that. I was like, when you get to the new shop, that should be like a new drop or something. It'd be really cool. It'd be like a combat field knife at that point.
Dude, do you know what I said to Peterbilt knife guy in the comment section when I saw him post about that knife? I said to him that it looks like a badass carryable version of the Tops Longhorn Bowie.
Yeah,
It gives me like a Longhorn Bowie kind of recurve vibe a little bit. I love it. I want
yeah.
to check one out.
Um, I will say there's been a handful of knives that's really impressed me through the or for this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
2024 list.
yeah, I did a whole like top 10. I don't have them all back here with me, but
Yeah.
one, I mean, I'm gonna simp for a moment here. My Hawk, I really like my Hawk. I use it all the time now, and there's still a handful of them available. I think there's like less than 10 of them available on um very good knife company. All the Nitro V ones sold out in like 5 minutes, but all the there's still like a handful of the 80 CRV2 ones. But another one that has really impressed me, and I didn't add it to the list because I don't have like a video of it yet, but this very good knife company, Adventure Junior and
That's
Nitro.
the same one I got, man, and I
Yeah.
love it. I carry it all the time. It's downstairs because I literally just carried it today.
And oh, couple comments. Dan Stan mentioned the Vosteed mink, and then Peterbilt knife guy said it's a sweet knife, just don't cross baton it. I actually like totally warped my first Vosteed mink.
Really?
Cross grain batoning it. Yeah, the edge is really thin on it, so like
Yeah, it is.
it's a really fine slicer, but it's not a hard use knife. Like, and you know that's something else too. A lot of people don't realize this because right now I think what's popular in the knife community is these like 10,000 degree edge, you know, behind the edge thickness or whatever,
Dude, they're
and
just
it's
gonna
like
they're just gonna
insanely
break.
thin. And it's like, okay, if all you're going to be doing is like fine cutting paper and cardboard on
Right,
YouTube, then
right.
that's great. But you get it out in the woods, and it's gonna. I mean, I had another knife maker send me a knife and 52-100 steel, and I totally warped the edge on it, and he told me, you know, the edge thickness. I was like, dude, it needs to be like, you know, a 20 thou edge on it, like at least,
Right.
or like a woods, like a field woods knife. But uh, yeah, the Civivi Storm Ridge, it basically looked like it had the same issue as the Vosteed Ming. Um, but back to knives that you know was actually good for this year. One of them that just like really stands out to me, and I really like it, and it's probably going to be one of my favorite knives for a long time, is the Schwarz uh, LT5 or Lost Trail 5. This thing is absolutely epic. It feels like the Becker BK2 that we always wanted, in my opinion. It has not quite the same ergos as the Becker, but it has that wide, broad blade, but it's not just insanely thick. It's only 5/32 thick. And it has just a high saber grind. So it can do a lot of work. It still can take some like hard use stuff, but I just feel like it's such a practical knife. And John, if you haven't ever tried the LT5, I ought to try to send you this one. Or Peterbilt Knife Guy, if you're interested in trying the LT5, I think you would like this one quite a bit too.
I really like what's his name? Schwartz. I like TJ Schwartz. I think he offers like for what they are, I think he offers a bang up knife for just about as affordable as he can. And I do like them. Uh, one of my when my head where my head went, dude, for one of those uh 2024 models was this uh uh geez, Exodus Knife and Tool Mutant. So shout out to Exodus Knife and Tool, Jacob Peterson. He's a good
I'll
friend
tell
to
you
all of
what.
us.
I'll make you a deal. If you want to lend me your mutant,
Yeah.
I will wet form it for you,
Okay. Deal.
and the leather sheath will be like damn near like Kydex.
Yeah, I do that to most of mine. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm so busy, and it won't happen for a year if you don't. So that's perfect. I'll send it with the V44X. Another shout out to Reef Knives, man. Stu over at Reef Knives. I talk to him quite a bit still, even between times when he sends me stuff. He always asks how the shop's going. And they dropped the Magna Cut F3, and I just really really like it. I think it's a cool knife, and I've used it quite a bit. I've been waiting to take a trip. I told Stu that when I took this trip, it's a winter camping trip, dude. Like I'm gonna do 2 3 days of like survival videos and fire and all the food that I eat that whole weekend. Like it's gonna be crazy with snow on the ground and everything. Uh, the I'm gonna take my Reef F3 and F6 and do some serious content with them.
I'm
Um,
actually supposed to be getting my Reef Circadian back. So I sent my
did you
Reef.
get Kydex for it?
Yes, very good knife company was nice enough to make me a Kydex sheath for it, and I liked the leather sheath that it came with. But personally, for me, the way I like to conceal carry a blade, just the leather wasn't the best. Like if you were like a dedicated pocket carry type of guy, that leather sheath would have been just perfect. But the leather sheath just for like I like to tuck my knife into like my pants at the like 4 o'clock position, and it
Yeah,
just a little too deep for me personally, and
yeah.
so I went ahead and had very good knife company make a
Dude, I
Kydex.
love his Kydex. I got my little adventure junior while I was over there because shout out to Very Good Knife Company. Dude, I love this thing, man. It
Yeah,
it
he
cuts
makes.
better than what did I get? We were talking 2024. Sorry, I lose my train of thought so bad. So real quick, I have two. One, guys, go on Instagram, please. Go on Instagram. Check out Mill Run Knife Company, Mill Run Knife Co. on Instagram. He is a hand maker in PA, right near me, a couple hours north or a couple hours west in Meadville, PA. And he makes some of the nicest um, bushcraft knives ever. He's got some Scandies, some beautiful Scandies, and this is a EDC Hunter that he made for me out of Magna Cut.
That
That's
thing
just
looks really nice.
dude, it's just oh my god. And his edges and his finishes, his attention to detail, and his prices, dude, that knife was under $300 and he made it by hand, the entire knife out of Magna Cut. Like it's crazy. And then then I'll have you hit the comments. Then, dude, you want to talk about my favorite, my one of my favorites, and it's so funny because you got this $170 Nitro V hand done knife by Jacob down at Very Good Knife Company, and it gets carried slightly more than my TRC Polheim that was 400 and something dollars. The Polheim though, that's one of my 2024
It's a nice
favorites.
blade. I like the Polheim.
It's
It's a more better sized South Pole, in my opinion.
carryable South Pole, yeah.
So I seen with your oh your Adventure Junior that it reminded me of mine. So I've been switching to the Ulti Clip AP clip, and I think this is my favorite clip now for
Dude, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
it's the Ulti Clip AP clip. It's their AP clip from Ulti Clip. It's
I
their
didn't
new,
know they even made them.
yeah, it's their new clip, and I mean, I've been carrying it on mine, and here I'll even show you real quick. It
Dude,
works
that is
great in my more clock
badass.
position, but it also even works good for like belt carry. But it's not like as much of a pain in the ass to take off as like the regular ulti clip. And
Dude,
so
I love that.
yeah, I've been become quite a fan of the AP clip. So I think it's going to be my new go to clip from here on out.
Well, and funny enough, I've just been rocking mine appendix carry right at the front quarter.
Hmm.
Appendix carry, so it's right in front of, right to the left of my right front pocket. I can just pull it out, make my cut, put it right back. And I've enjoyed it so much at that I haven't put anything on it to belt carry it. But now I got to get one of those AP clips. So, real quick, top three to bring to a zombie apocalypse. I changed my list. 2024 drops. I was lucky enough to get one of the Magna Cut AK8s. Guys, I think that for the total package being sub $400, a Magna Cut 8-inch blade with the beautiful backer that works great, carries great. I should probably put a nylon backer if I'm doing zombies, but I would go the AK8, the TRC, Millie Curie, and the Chris Reeve specific to answer your
Okay,
three
so my
zombie
my my
question.
uh my top three to bring to a zombie apocalypse. Uh, I'm gonna try to go for one in each size. So I'm gonna go with my hawk. I like my hawk for like something small to carry on me. Nitro V, all that good stuff. So it's something small, compact to have on me. Something more medium sized. You know what? Screw it. We'll go with that. The
Dude, I
walkabout.
love that. It's
Uh,
like this on steroid. It's like the night. It's like these on steroids. The
Yeah,
Adventure
it's
Junior on
basically like
steroids.
a big ass adventure, basically, and then so that gives me kind of more of like a larger belt knife, and then my third blade, and I'd want something bigger. I'm gonna go with my Work Tough Gear V44X, and I'm gonna Baldric carry that mofo, and
Dude, I love it.
it's
I've
like
been
a
loving it.
short sword, basically, and so
We got to shout out well regulated.
yeah, well regulated. Um, I think the V44X is legit my favorite big knife. And, if I could only go with one big knife, if I had to pick a second big knife, or like say if the zombie apocalypse happened now and I didn't have my V44X, it'd probably be my SE Hungless.
Dude, stop showing off. Guys, I've never gotten an Essie Hungless. Someone tell me in my comments if you ever find one. I want one, the original, not the second little one, the big one right
Yeah,
there.
no, no, I didn't like the SE Hungless 2 very much. It just seemed like a weird size to me. But the original SE Hungless, these are Lucas Carroll scales. Look at those scales on there, by the way. Like,
All that texture. I
yeah,
love his texture.
his like, um, oh,
The
it's
milling.
almost like checkered. Yeah,
Yeah. So real quick, that guy said he said he loves his AK8 and 3.5. Peterbilt Knife Guy had some issues with Architect, so he's not loving them right now. I got the 3.5 in Magna Cut. I haven't done my review video, but it's a really nice daily carry. I just like leather backers on my Kydex, even though it's super weird, man. I don't know if I showed you this yet, Gabe. They give you the exact same belt loop
yeah.
attachment.
I think I've seen
It's
somebody
so
else
weird.
show that, and it's kind of like a little overkill. So personally, for me,
It
I love.
feels real Walmarty.
So I hate having to take my belt off to put a knife on because I appendix carry my Glock on me all the time. So I
Yeah,
don't like to have to like sit there and fumble through a bunch of gear and stuff like that. So my favorite way to like actually carry a knife is just one of these, just like a nylon thing that
full
I could.
snaps. Yeah.
Yep, and I've had great luck with these. There was a while there in Marines, I
Oh,
was liking these things from um,
Essie.
Essie. but I've had a couple of these break on me, so I don't like trust them. Actually, there was one time I was in a Humvee, all like geared up and stuff, and you already feel like a dysfunctional turtle, and then you're inside of a Humvee that's too small, and then I was getting out, and like somehow it like my knife caught on something, and it just like broke this deal on me, like as I was getting out of the Humvee. So it was like shit. So I had to like
Right.
550 cord strap it onto my belt basically for the rest of the time out there. And
I just realized that the work toughs have that snap too. That same
so
setup.
that's kind of new for them. They've been doing these, and I don't know if I've had anything to do with that because I've always said that I like these, and I know other people's mentioned
Maybe
it.
they're listening, man. You have good advice.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but I wonder. I wonder. But and another weird setup that I've set up on knives before too for like a belt carry is I'll just have like a leather strap and then I'll just bolt a tech lock onto it, and then I can just tech lock it straight onto my belt without having to take my belt off. So
Guys, we were talking about the Vosteed Mink, or the isn't it the Mink, the Vosteed Mink? I
yeah,
have an extra set of Lucas Carroll custom scales, so a little present during the live. If you guys email me at heavysettactical@gmail.com, I'll send you these. No money necessary because I won't use them on my Vosteed. Real quick, I'm gonna plug too. Guys, I just got done with a batch of these 3-inch knives, and I have some other stuff on my channel that I've showed. These were with natural micarta, and it was like vintage micarta with OD green G10 liners, and it looked really good. Just a nice little handful, and then a pretty useful drop point blade on there. These are in Magna Cut. I have a few of them, and they came out really good, and I'm going to be testing more and more on my hunting knives that I'm coming out with. But I just wanted to tell you guys to keep watch because I'm going to have some of these available pretty soon. I
I'll
got a
have to.
whole batch of them in
I'll
S45.
have to try one of those sometime.
Yeah, dude, it's the blade. So one of the knives that didn't get released that survived that I always liked the blade to was the GSO3. So I kind of shortened it and put more of a point on it because they had a larger belly on them. So I kind of like, from looking at pictures on Google, I remembered loving that blade shape. So I Googled it and I found a picture of it and printed it out and then traced it, and I went from there. So I changed the handle. It's obviously quite a different handle. It's a lot more blocky, but it's just a nice full grip. Maybe put some jimping out towards the tip so you can use it as a skinner on a couple of them. Just a really cool little belt knife I made. So I'm gonna have a bunch more stuff. I glass bead blast and tumble for my finish. So it's got that nice kind of like cloudy but stone washed look to them. That was another guy on the 2024 drops. So I missed a bunch of comments, guys. I apologize.
Yeah, we'll catch up on some of the comments real quick.
Go
Uh,
ahead, buddy.
um, so we'll just start with Dan Stan here. Pretty impressed with my Operator 7. I know it's not optimal, but I dig that bugger for a woods knife. Hey, if it works for you, then that's what matters the most, right there.
Right?
I don't personally care for like a recurve blade. I just find recurve blades are kind of unnecessary in my opinion, but some people like them. Um,
Operator
Oh,
7.
Mew said for zombie
Hmm.
apocalypse, I'll go dual wielding CRKT, Clever Girl, and top Earth skills on the back, front scout carried on my Guardian.
Mm-mm.
Hmm. So, actually, I'm going to change up my zombie apocalypse carry. I'm going to go with my Colt AR-15, my Glock 19, and my Balor Arms Crusader longsword with about a 35-inch blade. We'll, we'll, uh, we'll do that for my
Yeah.
song.
I was keeping it fixed blades, guys. If we're gonna go into guns, I'm going M4 carbine all day. Then 5.56. You can shoot. Oh yeah, because it'll shoot 223. Howdy all, heavy set tactical John. LHO Gabe and all here. Heavyset Knifeworks has several handle/color options for the original 1038 Hungless. Thank you, man. I'm gonna get myself one for Christmas. Shit. All right, hold on.
Yeah,
I
the
gotta write
Essie
that
hung
down, Gabe,
list.
while you go through some comments.
The Essie hung list is,
I don't forget.
I think, a staple. I think everybody should have a Essie hung list for a large knife. And
Knife
actually, mine
works.
is a little different. I cut a choil in mine,
Did
and
you?
yeah, so I
It looks like it's meant to be there.
yeah, I actually, I mean, I guess I did a bang up job on it, but
You
it
did.
actually feels pretty decent. I generally don't like choils, but on the Essie Hungless, it just had a like a flat spot there, and so it's like, well, it might as well have a choil at this point, and so I cut the choil on it. I will say the original handle scales are pretty nice with the Essie Hungless, but these Lucas Carroll scales really make it like a lot nicer. One of the things that I will say, other than the texture is really nice. Your hand's not slipping anywhere on it, but the way he flares that out in the back, you can really just choke back on it and just get a lot of power, and that thing is not coming out of your hand either. Because I will say one of the things I hate on a knife is something with like smooth handle scales,
Oh
like
man.
the like Bark
Except for
Rivers or
this.
LT Wrights. Like they're insanely smooth, and
Dude, why are you gonna make a bushcraft or survival knife and make it with roller skate rink floor, shiny spit polished micarta? I just don't
I don't get
understand it.
it
I
either.
don't
I want
understand.
something. I want like
I don't get it.
one knife that I think that came just with awesome handle skills. We talked about it earlier. The
Oh, dude,
steadfast with
I
that,
love the
just even
milling.
that like texture on there, that just feels um
That 45 milling, just the lines at a 45. It's just such a good grip. You know what's interesting? We're talking about texture. Let me grab.
Okay, just a second. I'll
Yeah, go
answer
ahead,
a
buddy. Go ahead.
comment here or two real quick. Um, Lost Trail X asked, "Do you guys believe in the law of diminishing returns for knives? For example, is a TRC worth what it is compared to a cold steel?" Yes, I mean there is a law of diminishing returns. I like, I tell people all the time, if you're not like a big knife guy and you just want something that's going to last you a lifetime and not have to worry about,
SRK.
uh, get you a freaking SE and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Like, if you're real cheap, get an SRK, like John said. Like if you don't got a lot of money, SRK is a great knife. If I was ever to host like a bushcraft or survival camp class or something, and I just wanted some knives to hand out to like random jackasses that's gonna smash them in the rocks and stuff anyways, I'd probably just buy a piss load of SRKs and not give a shit about them. Like that's just me personally. But so the Cold Steel SRK is a great knife. SE I think is a great knife. Um, you know where you're gonna notice something for spending a lot of money is if you're a avid knife user. If you're a guy that's just using a knife all the
Yeah.
freaking time, then yes, you are going to notice slight
Yeah.
advantages over like a more expensive knife. It's just how it is. It's better steels, better heat treats, all that good stuff. But if you're just a would-be guy out in the woods, once a year, then that expensive knife is really expensive because you're not really using it. But if you're a
Get
guy
a
that's
buck. Get a K
using it
bar.
all the time, then it's not really that expensive if it's getting used all the time. But then it kind of gets me too because sometimes I see this in the gun world too. People will be like, "Oh, I can't spend $500 on a Glock," and it's like, yeah, but you buy a brand new 72-inch TV every year with your tax return, so you can know the size and color of every quarterback's jock strap. Like, it's like,
Whew, that was a good one, man. That was a well oriented thought that you just had. Uh,
but I mean, I see it like every tax season. Like people will go in and buy a brand new TV. It's like, what's wrong with the TV you had just last year? You know?
I am a TRC fanboy, Lost Trail X, so it's the Polheim, the Millie Curie. I'd probably say those are my two top for like a big and a small. But yeah, it's um they're good, man. They're just good, and they're always comfortable in your hand. Like it doesn't matter how long I use it, it's just always going to be that. And they do a great job with their heat treat and their belt satins. Speaking of another knife, dude, that I have not touched on or done a video for, I don't know how, it was one of my grails. I got one of the Gen 1 mid tech honey badgers by Dark Timber in 3V, good old smash 'em up 3V. I think you would really like this choil actually.
Yeah.
It's got this
Well,
big swell, so it's like a nice grab onto it.
like
It's
I said,
so
I kind of
comfortable.
have a mixed opinion on choils. I think when done right, it's actually good on some knives, and some knives it's
Yeah.
just not well executed. And I really hate it when it's on like a knife that's like sub 6 inches. Like I just don't really see the purpose of it. Um, we're going at another 30 minutes or so, and the dark timber is really nice. I might have to borrow that one from you.
Okay. Finishing up real quick. That's a nice knife. Thank you, Dan Stan. Thank you, Splitting Slices, for the Hungalis Peterbilt knife guy. All you guys, thank you. Someone earlier, I meant to grab it. That's why I just stood up. Someone earlier commented on the Carruthers, and you were talking about texture real quick, Gabe. I want to try it with some of my knives. Instead of the 45 lines or straight across like you see a lot of guys do, they did them straight on. They're literally like this.
Kind of just a slight
And
canted angle, yeah.
well, dude, and it gives you this grip this way instead of front to back sliding. It gives you this grip on all the pads of your fingers that is so comfortable, dude, and so nice. So I've really been loving this. These two are oldies but goodies and collectibles. I'm gonna do a nice hard use review on those two. I've been meaning to, and then real super quick, I'm gonna plug him because he's let me get a bunch of spots that emptied on his list. AD Knives, guys, on Instagram. Alexander Drawn is a custom maker, usually uses Elmax and Magna Cut, and he just, man, they're good. So I wanted to give him a plug. I really, really love his knives. This is his H45, his Hunter 45, 4.5 inch. Gabe, you got kids and a wife that I don't. So are you getting ready to wrap it up here, buddy?
Yeah, I'll answer one
Okay.
more quick question here. Splitting Slices kind of mentioned he missed out on the V44X and couldn't justify it because he had the Puzon Wilderness Bowie. So I will say I
Oh.
had both. I had the Puzon Wilderness
Oh,
Bowie and the V44X, and I do not like the Puzon Wilderness Bowie compared to the V44. The V44X, in my opinion, is much more well executed, and that's just my opinion too. Who though, if the
right.
Puzon works great for you, then that's awesome. I got an injury from the Puzon Wilderness Bowie. It's
That's a
actually
good gash.
it's actually my most watched video on YouTube. It's like pushing 1 million views or something like that, and um, I will say the V40 or the Puzon Wilderness Bowie, if you had like larger hands, I think it would probably fit your hands better. But for
Dude,
me,
all
it just
his knives.
yeah,
I'm
the
not a big fan.
the
Yeah.
handles are just awkward for me, and also I think they're too round, and so they want to index versus
Yes.
the V44X is more flatter, which I actually think it indexes a lot better, which is what you'd want for something that big. But
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Thank you for hopping on here, and stay tuned for next time, right?
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
And be sure to check out John's knives. He's going to be coming out
We're
with.
gonna be doing drops over the winter, man. It's gonna be a great year. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And I'm
All
gonna
right.
be sending stuff out for you to test and everything. I will send out what did you say with the V44X?
I'll just hit you up on.
Oh yeah, yeah. The TRC. The TRC.
Yep.
I want
All
to
right.
write it down. Have a good night, brother.
Yep. You all have a good night.
All right, guys. If there's anything real quick any of you wanted to specifically ask me, we'll get it out of the way. But other than that, we're gonna call it a night. I will say it's annoying. It's annoying that this knife is that comfortable and that well done as far as ergonomics. I have not done a lot of edge testing, but it's just great. The Carruthers basic field knife, and it's one of those annoying knives, man. That have a good night, guys. Thank you. It's one of those real quick. I'm gonna say it's one of those annoying knives that are like $1,000 on eBay, and it's so hard to find. And I ended up talking to this guy who had seen my channel, and he mentioned that he had one, and I got it for $600, which is a steal for this knife. I don't think it's worth 1,000, but it's worth 500. So if you can find one for five, I would go with it. I love the Carruthers. I'm glad you guys had a good time. Thanks, Malcolm, Peterbilt Knife Guy, all you guys. I got stuffed in its second cycle of tempering, so I got to run out to the shop before I go to bed. Yeah, it is a good price, and I gotta get a hungless. But yeah, that was another funny one, man. On the BK2 and Magna Cut, guys, I'm a big time. I got the BK16 and the BK7. The BK7's brand new. I haven't used it a lot, so I'm selling it on my knife sale video that I'm posting later. I got a bunch of cool stuff I'm selling. But the BK2 the BK2 makes sense in 1095 Crovan or whatever it's in, regular 1095, because it serves as one purpose, a sharpened pry bar and something for you to have that's never going to break in half or have the tip break off. It's one of those knives. It's just going to be a knife forever and you're never going to break it, period. They're getting a little carried away with this Magna Cut thing. Magna Cut is for less George folding knives in that size range. It's for smaller EDC fixed blades. The Chris Reeve Pacific I got is in Magna Cut, and that I wish could have gotten it in 4V or 3V. The only one available was in Magna Cut, so I did get it. But guys, people are doing too much with Magna Cut, and I think that knife that thick, it's just going to be the same thing, but have a little better edge retention. I don't think it was necessary. The BK2 in Magna Cut is like one of those kind of like one of those goofy things. Guys, they did the BK2 in Magna Cut, but didn't give you micarta scales, upgraded scales. It's the same like Grivery injection molded crappy scales and sheath. Now, if they would have done it with Magna Cut and micarta and the sheath, that would have made sense. And that price still would have made them money. But to do it for like 300 something dollars in Magna Cut, it's like taking a pig and putting a North Face on it and being like, it not only will it run around and take shits, but now it'll do it and work 10% better and look 10% better. That's like the whole I don't know. I think they should have done them in. I think it would have made more sense to me to do them in like 3V. It People are only when you make big knives like that in Magna Cut, or like combat knives in Magna Cut, you're only doing it to sell them because they have Magna Cut on the blade. Something like this. This is a TCal Mercenary. This is an 80 CRV2. That makes sense. This is a hard, not gonna break steel. It's not gonna be as elegant on the edge, but you're not gonna break the tip off of it very easily. If this were in Magna Cut, I never would have bought it at this thickness and this profile. It's pretty thin this way and pretty thin this way for like a, kind of combat blade, tactical blade, if you will. The jimping's a little rough too, but this made me really kind of start liking and looking at TCal knives. But yeah, people are getting carried away with Magna Cut. All right, TCal's my favorite. Tommy C. Is that my Tommy C from Instagram? What's up, brother? If that's Karask, what's up, man? Um, yeah, I'm starting to look at TCal now, but yeah, I'm gonna have some stuff coming out this year, guys. That's gonna be really cool. I got some awesome prototypes made up that I'm gonna be doing a lot of hand stuff, and then once in a while I'm going to get a bunch of blanks cut, laser cut. Right now I'm cutting the blanks, heat treating, grinding, glass blasting, making the handles, shaping them by hand, and they're not pinning, they're screwing. Uh, Earlier I forgot. This is one of the 2024 drops that I really liked. Well regulated, my brother. This was Gabe just went to bed. I'm going to bed in just a minute here, but um this is the Bruin by Knives by Nooch. I've talked to him quite a bit, and he's kind of became a little bit of a friend in the knife world, and he sent me this for free to test out. It's in 3V, 110 thou thick, 12 degrees per side. If you get a Scandi that's more than 110 thou thick, it's just gonna dig right in. This one is like a feather sticking dream. But yeah, that was a good 2024 drop. But yeah, as far as folders, just stuck on the Les George stuff and the fixed blades. I'm bouncing between so many I have to do reviews for. Up next, the V44X review by Well Regulated. Offensive Industries Kydex. Yeah, they make phenomenal kydex. I've heard over and over and over and over, and I'm gonna hit them up and see if they'll do stuff for my smaller knives. I don't know if they do that or not. Um, but yeah, another cool knife, real quick, while it's on the table. I was just looking around. Another cool knife was a Jacob Creates on the last knife. Oh yeah, yeah, on the TCal. Or oh, you're talking about the Bruin, I think anyway. Yeah. So this is a shout out to Jacob Creates real quick before we call it a night. He made me a really, really cool Modest Mary because I wanted one. Um, so I was able to get one. So I'm gonna give it some pocket time and see how it works out. Uh, Guys, real quick, just coming up, I'm dropping a knife sale video after this. Ooh, I know, but dude, what do I do with all the knives that I have left? I'm gonna put them on eBay, make you pay a percentage, me pay a percentage. Why not list them for? I mean, anyone. I sold real quick, and then I'm gonna call it a night. I sold uh 10 knives during my last knife sale. Every single one of those guys, if you reached out to them, including Tom Carrasco, every single one of those guys got their knives immediately, and they were exactly as described, and they paid 30 or 40% less than they would anywhere else. Also, my buddy that owns, or not owns, he's started a channel for axes. Um, he wanted one of the Work Tough Gear ones and couldn't pay for it, so I sent it to him and kind of surprised him with it. I think he's doing a really cool review of that. It's Mountain Man Axes, I believe, is his channel. But he was somebody that got a knife for me too. But yeah, so I'm doing a knife sale after this, and it's going to be a great week. And we're going to be testing out. This was that first batch of Magna Cut I got. I messed the blade up and forgot to put holes in it, so I glued on some very basic micarta handles. So I'm going to test this Magna Cut. I follow. I got the real quick, and then I'm calling it a night because I'm pretty whacked. I've been on my feet all day, man. I'm at that shop. I got Laren Thomas's knife engineering book, um, and in the back is nothing but recipes on tempering, hardening, austenization. Schematics of the formulating of the carbides. It's guys, if there's any small makers out there, please trust me. This book is not one of those like, it's not full of pictures. It's full of information. And if you're like me, I'm a mental masturbator. I might talk a little rough and act a little rough, but I read a lot and I research a lot, and my evenings of downtime are reading about what I'm doing out in the shop. So that book was very, very helpful. And for a lot of collectors, uh, it's fantastic, fantastic book. Even if you're just a collector and you want to be able to understand uh, knife making or heat treating a little better. So, what are you running on your mag? What am I running my MagnaCut at? So this batch came out at 63. So you do like three test runs. It was like 63, 63.2, and then 63.1. So it was right in there. So I averaged it at like 63. Um, I think I think one of my questions about MagnaCut is what a lot of you are asking yourselves all the time, I'm sure. One of my main questions about MagnaCut is if I have, okay, this is the MagnaCut 2, the Freeman. This is a hell of a folder. If you guys can get one, they're awesome. Uh, let's say I have two knives identical in width and edge to hilt width. What would you call that? Width, thickness, and length on the blade. They're the exact same. I want to know. I know there's some of you that have asked yourselves this question or tried to find this question. Let's say I have two identical knives, both in MagnaCut. One is at 61 HRC, and one is at 64. Some of the higher 60s or mid 60s. Is the edge retention that much better on a 64 to a 61? It's pretty proven that the edge retention is better, yes, but how much stronger is it? Is it less brittle? Is it more brittle? I mean, I would assume that if it's harder, the edge retention's a little better and it's a little more likely for you to break the tip off. That's what I would assume to the 64 as opposed to the 60 or 61. But I'd like to see how realistic that is. So I have another blank that I actually remember to put the holes in before I heat treated it, and I I've been saving it to heat treat it with my next batch of MagnaCut 3 inchers, but part of me wants to kind of shit it and so essentially MagnaCut is like 2100 degrees for like 20 minutes. I think it's 20 minutes. I'm not going to go into the notes. So most steels are like, 1900 to 2100 for like 20 minutes. You pool them, you plate quench them, you cryo them, then you put them in 2 rounds of tempering for 2 hours each. Now, with MagnaCut, let's say it was 20 minutes at 2100. You'll plate quench it and drop that down to room temperature. Then you'll drop it even further down to like negative 200 cryo or 240, whatever it is. Liquid nitrogen's like 238, I think, something like that. So you'll do that drop, and then when you go to temper it, you can keep it at like 61.5 by doing both of your tempers at like 400 degrees or 380. Then if you want to make it harder, you actually temper it less at a less degree. So I would temper it two times at 2 times for 2 hours at like 300 degrees, and that would raise the hardness overall of the finished product. So this stuff, dude, I took a carbide bit with cutting fluid and everything and tried to put those holes in there just to see if I could. You couldn't even run your finger over it and feel the dent. That's how hard this stuff is. I took a big bastard file and took it and turned it on its edge and reamed it so hard into the spine of the other blank, and it would not even deform and no deformation. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Uh, how this Magna Cup batch went. Because I know when I go on NewJerseySteelBaron.com, which a lot of bigger makers use, when I go on there and I order MagnaCut, some of those batches down to an atomic level and the carbides have to be a little different. Some of the kind of fluctuation between batches has to be a little bit different. Okay, what are you running your MagnaCut at? We went through that. Average Joe. There's a guy that does all kinds of testing at different HRCs on YouTube. so I have to find him again. Is pocket carry with handle exposed considered open carry? So, guys, carrying laws in every state is a little different. I'm in Pennsylvania, southern Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's a pretty small town. So if you're around the area, I'm sure I'll see you around. But pocket carry with the handle exposed, considered open carry. That's a great question. I mean, I believe it is. I guess it would kind of depend, because that's like saying, is a deep carry pocket clip on a folder considered open carry in your pocket? Well, it depends on how much the handle's exposed, but I would assume if it's well below your shirt level, you'd have a pretty good case for it being, you know, uh, open carry. That's what I would say. So, guys, I love doing these live streams. I'm gonna try to do them more. We got some really cool stuff coming out this week, and this is the rough prototype, but I will have some really nice little 3-inch kind of caper or EDC knives going in Magna Cut and S45 VN. I have a bunch of other stuff, a lot of cool prototypes, stuff like this that's more polished with a much higher saber. I just kept it a little thick behind the edge for testing reasons. Um, but yeah, I got some cool knives coming out, and I hope that I gave this a run and spent 20 grand on the shop and materials to get started, and drove down to South Carolina to spend a week with Alan from Primitive Bear Knives learning. Spend a lot of time up at Gary Creeley Blades. Uh, and and I've just been in that shop sun up to sundown, standing on my feet, sun up to sundown. I eat one meal when I come in at 7, 8 o'clock at night and go to bed every day, 7 days a week. I went to church this morning, went straight in that shop, and I was out there till we did the first live stream. All right, last question. Anyone still in here talking about the next steal? Go watch the last EDC Dirk and Alex with Laren's uncle slash knife maker toward end of interview. Interesting. So, from some sources, I cannot tell you any names. There are two different makers that I'm close friends with that aren't from around here, so we talk over the internet. Both of them told me that they got batches of. I wish Gabe was still here so I could have told him that. They have batches officially of the new prototype next in line CPM steel. Apparently, it's supposed to be like, the next step. Um, so I'm pretty excited about it. Again, guys, you know how I feel about Magna Cut. This is not something earth shattering. It's good. It's M390 LMAX 20 CV. Guys, it's if you're this is what I tried to explain to people when they got so mad at me. If I have two blades unmarked and I'm using them for just everyday opening boxes, and one's 20 CV and one's Magna Cut, you as a random knife user, opening boxes, cutting your sandwiches, whatever, you will never know the difference. You'll never. I test knives 5 times a week and carry different rounds of knives, and I've been doing this on YouTube for only 18 months, 2 years. I've been doing this and collecting and testing knives just for fun for 17, 18 years. Collecting since I was a kid. I'm 33. Uh, so make a long story short, wait, 17, yeah, 1991, May 1991. So, make a long story short, if I have a 20 CV knife and a Magna Cut knife, and I'm specifically testing by cutting sisal rope or testing by doing an edge test, you will be able to tell the difference. But how does that equate to real life usage? It doesn't. You'll never know the difference between M390 and Magna Cut unless you work on a fishing boat. Because when I was at Survive, we had this dude that kept emailing. And at this time, I didn't know no one was answering emails. No one was even getting them. I had no idea. So it kept popping up on my computer I did the, CNC stuff with and the laser engraving stuff with. So I finally click on his email, there's like 30 emails. He said he got an M390 knife from Microtech in M390, and he worked on a fishing charter, and it rusted in 1 week. Rusted the whole way through and sent photos. So is MagnaCut gonna be that much better? So we sent him a MagnaCut EDC4, and he ordered one and we sent it to him. And literally, dude, 2 weeks later, he sent us photos. It wasn't rusted, but it had surface blemishes, a little bit of rust on it. So MagnaCut is not rust proof. It can rust. Again, the only steel that I would consider damn near rust proof is Vanex, and this is the Quiet Carry Drift Large. Uh, just one of my staples of my folder, kind of EDC carry. Vanex is so good. And the edge retention I'd say is probably a little under, in my opinion, a little under M390 and 20 CV, but it makes up for that. It's not that much under at all. It's great edge retention. Great edge retention. Between this and 20 CV, you'd never know the difference. This and M390, you'd never know the difference as just a daily user. But it's like rust proof. It's serious. So I should do a video on that next to 20 CV. Maybe I'll use this. Where'd that little goofy thing go? This guys, I like folders, and the TRM Atom by far, bang for your buck. Right now they have black G10 version of the 20 CV TRM Atom. It's black G10 and it's $220 in 20 CV. It's my favorite pocket knife. I almost bought another one just to have another one in G10. But this is the Atom, or I mean, that's the Atom. This is the TRM Shadow. Super rare, super sought after. I'm selling it right now, so if you want it at a very good price, they're super rare. It's in Merlot micarta. Very, very rare. But send me an email at heavysettactical@gmail.com. If you want it, I'll hook you up. It's brand new. I don't like Axis locks. Benchmade killed them for me. So I'm gonna go down and edit my knife sale video, get that up. Got to get up at 5:30, take care of some stuff, and then all those blades that I just heat treated. I got a notification that my even heat kicked off, so I got to grind them and get some handle materials glued up with the liners. So again, I like to give back. I'm doing two as much as I can. I know nobody's perfect, but RMJ Combat Africa, what are your thoughts? Damn it, you just had to do that before I'm getting ready to go to bed. RMJ does kind of what these guys are doing at TCAL. They use 80 CRV. It is a core, hard use, great edge retention steel that doesn't rust like you think it does. It's not like 1095 where it just and it's not going to pit. It's going to rust, okay? But I have all these 80 CRV2 knives. Two of them are sitting forever. Two of them I use often, and this is one of the new ones that I carry every other day for 2.5, 3 weeks now, and it's been raining and crap, and I'm freaking throwing hay bales and moving the boat and digging the freaking tires out, and all in the rain. Not one spot of rust, so I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. Uh, the Combat Africa. So, oh man, I'm getting a cold. I can feel it coming on. So, um, earlier we did the three zombie knives. Mine was the TRC Apocalypse or the TRC Millie Curie, right? I love my TRC. It was the Chris Reeve Pacific and the uh, Bussy Combat or Bussy Team Gemini by Bussy Combat. The Bussy Team Gemini in their Infi Steel. Those were always iconic. The Chris Reeve Pacific and the Bussy were those two iconic combat knives I always had to have in my collection. Oh, I had to have them, had to get them. The Bussy has a super uncomfortable kind of goofy handle. The Chris Reeve Killed it, dude. I love this knife so much. But in that trifecta was always the Bussy, the Chris Reeve, and dude, these guys like gave me shit about the way I say Bussy. Dude, it's Busse, Bussy, Bussy. I don't care. I say Bussy because that's how I've said it for 30 years. I don't, you know what I mean? Whatever. This knife, the Bussy, and the RMJ Combat Africa were always my top three. I really want to test them kind of knives. And my voice is getting dry from talking so much. And to this day, that is the one knife. Every time they drop them, I find out one day after the last one sold. I hit DLT Trading up the other day and I said, "Did you guys just go through a batch of them?" They said, "Yeah, we don't have any more. We'll let you know when." And they never do. I always ask them to. They never do. They're busy. I get it, but that wasn't like a dig at DLT Trading. I love DLT Trading. So that Combat Africa, I've heard great things. It's an 80 CRV2, which, guys, when we're talking about apocalypse steals, if you think 80 CRV2 shouldn't be in there, but stuff like 1095 or 52 100 should be, no, stop it. Uh, 80 CRV2 is a crusty, dusty, for some reason, never rusty nut steel. It is. I, there was a guy that tried to tell me how good it was, and I was like, it's so cheap, dude. You don't understand. Okay, so and then I got to go to bed. So let's say a bar magna cut to make this knife, it would roughly be like 28, 24 bucks, 23 bucks. Like, this is a long knife. Uh, so let's say a 48-inch bar that's inch and a quarter wide. The thickness is 125, 135 thou. It's like, rough cut bar stock, and it's 48 inches long. Roughly a 48-inch bar piece of Magna Cut is like 100 bucks. 80 CRV2, dude, it's like 40 bucks. It's like literally CPM steals, and it's way down here price wise. But dude, I'm telling you, when you heat treat it right and it's got enough thickness behind the tip, dude, 80 CRV2 is no joke. No joke. And I accept your apology, but you're a dick, Jared. No, I'm just kidding. Uh yeah, I'm always up to talk knives. That's why, it's nice being a small channel and working at the shop it's on my parents' property, the shop, my shop space. Uh, when I moved back from Gettysburg, everybody's like, "Oh, you live with your parents." Well, I haven't for a long time. I've flipped multiple houses. I've bounced all over the United States. You know what I mean? I've been all over the place. Uh, but when I had to pack up and leave Gettysburg because I found out that Guy Seaford had lied about everything and was a crook and almost took me for $120,000. Uh, he was good. He was good, but we're not going to get into that. I don't like bashing people. I really don't. Even people that have tried to literally me. Uh, he, when I was out at Survive, uh, I had I found all this out, and like 2 weeks later, Mike and I went to go to work into Survive to discuss when he was going to tell you guys what was going on and and what we were going to do about closing shop and closing the website and filing and I went in there to be the voice of reason with Mike, and we walked right up to the door. It was locked, so I pulled out my key. I said, "Dude, my key's not working." His key, nope. So in there is guy running around and Mike's knocking on the door. So he comes to the door and Mike goes, "I want my computer." And it was a whole thing that it was just a whole thing. So, guy was all paranoid about his IP, his intellectual property, potentially being on Mike's computer. So he changed the locks and screwed the window shut. I mean, dude, it was crazy. So I had to pack up, having lived out there for months and come right back here. So where else am I going to go? My parents are nicest people in the world. They're awesome. I help them out all day long. When my brother drops his kids off every Saturday to be taken care of, and they're not feeling well, I take care. Like I do a lot around here, so it's not like a sucking off mommy and daddy's. I was gonna say like sucking the power teat comment, and it came out real weird. But it's right on the property, so I'm always, right out back. You know, I can always answer emails. That's what I just went on a whole tangent, but I can always answer emails. And anybody that hits me up on Instagram, you can video call me while I'm in the shop all day. Ask me whatever you want. Stuff like that. It's cool to be a small channel. But yeah, and if anybody, one more time, I swear to God, the first email I get from somebody that has a Vosteed mink, I'm doing a video giveaway. I'll do it in the morning because I'm tired. We're doing a giveaway of a big work tough gear knife on my YouTube, and then I'm going to give away a special knife on my Instagram channel. And the first person to email me that wants a cool set of Lucas Carroll custom scales for their Vosteed mink, I offered them earlier, and I don't think anybody said anything. So send me an email at heavysettactical@gmail.com. Uh, and if this I have a Gen 3 Microtech. I know, dude. Oh my, you're still alive. Dude, I can't stop talking. They asked me good questions about the Combat Africa. It's a badass knife. Get one. And if you can find one, tell me. I want to buy one. What part of PA am I from? I'm from Lancaster originally. Lancaster, PA. Southern Lancaster, PA. I grew up riding horses way down in Peach Bottom, Peckway area. Um, down in Podunk, Lancaster. I grew up in the country, man. No, 5, 6 acres, half of it woods, half of it field, right on the edge of a cornfield. You can shoot a deer on your property and drag it right back in your house or in your garage, kind of thing. It was great. Snowmobiles and dirt bikes. I had the best childhood, man. I did. I owe my parents a lot for that. But yeah, I got this Microtech Gen 3 Combat Troodon, and I paid 450, 500 for it like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And I've tried to sell it on all my Facebook groups for like 300 bucks, which is like half of what they're worth, and I can't. So I think I want to do a destruction test with this thing. We'll see if it sells tomorrow. If it doesn't, I don't want to do it. I want to do it. All right, guys. All right, guys, got to hit the hay. Thank you. Splitting slices. I'm going to grab a Hungalus and I'm going to attribute my video to you. Have a good night. With them Amish boys. Goddamn right. Well regulated. My parents had horses. Yeah, dude. And then I got to go. I grew up down in southern Lancaster, like Peckway area, Conestoga, Peckway area. And I rode at a place that a woman named Ginny owned. It's called Hobo Hollow, and dude, it was great. Took lessons forever. Me and my brother showed horses for a while. So I when I got older, just up until 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I learned how to shoe horses, and I was a farrier for a while. Made good money doing that. Really enjoyed that. Volunteer at Pendleton Rodeo Grounds. Yeah, hmm, that's cool. I still can't believe I didn't swing by when I was in Virginia, brother. Guys, the well-regulated V44X, which is, I think, sitting right here. Oh, give you a little plumber's crack. I don't care what anybody says, guys. Reese Reese from Well Regulated is a model American. He served in the armed forces. He is a good friend, and he is a good man, and he is down in Virginia, and he designed this knife for work tough gear. And there's a lot of kind of like knockoff versions of it running around that I don't agree with, and some other things. But man, This knife is awesome. Guys, if you have a chance to get one in a future drop from Work Tough Gear, they probably are only going to do a drop of the V44X once a year. But if you can get one, I've been slinging it. This is Gage from the last Huntsman who was just on with me. I've been slinging it, dude. Wait till you guys see the review. It's just a blast. It's a fun knife to have. It's a fun knife. All right, guys. My old lady was out with the farrier today for a split. Oh man. Dude, I used to have to buy these. This was right when I stopped. They had these new like neoprene things, and I'd have to tape them on and then glue all in there with this filler that smelled so bad. I can still smell it in my head. I can't think of what it's called. It was in a tube and it had a blue and a white, and they spiraled around each other. So when you squeeze the gun, both of them would and mix together in the hoof. But yeah, I was an idiot. I used to shoe horses with no gloves on, running rasps across my hands, and oh man, I was an idiot. I had a couple bad burns too. I used to burn on. Um, I think it kills. People say, "Oh, it's because it kills germs." No, it's because it burns where my little toe tags are, so I know exactly where I'm putting the shoe back on, and I guess it disinfects a little bit, maybe. But I had a good time doing horses. I was always good with them. Like a hoof epoxy. Yep, that's it. Yeah, dude. Kentucky has a great farrier school. I I studied under. I learned from the best. Corey McGinnis, dude. He's just all over Maryland, but he goes down to big races in Florida and stuff, and just gets paid to go everywhere. He is big time. He learned from a Scottish alcoholic guy named Niles, who was like 4 feet tall. And dude, those guys, man, there were times where we'd go down and just do trims for a whole weekend and just come back with more money than I knew what to do with. Okay, my back was really messed up then, so I didn't. Yeah, dude, it's killer on the back. I was probably 80 pounds less than I am now. You can't rebuild the engine when it blows. Horses are a lot less durable than you would think, for sure. All they got to do is twist their knee joint out of whack. Horse girls are fun but crazy, brother. I'm telling you, 80 pounds ago, 2 years ago, I was the gigolo farrier, my friend, and I'm gonna get off on that statement. Oh, that sounded terrible. I'm gonna get offline now because we're digging into dangerous territory to have on the internet. But brother, horse girls are the best. Tight bodies, crazy as all get out, but very physical. I like strong women. I like women that are riding a horse and shooting orcs in the head. You know what I mean? I love that shit. So, guys, I hope you have a great night. Be sure to watch some more content, and I promise you, I had such a good time doing this live that we're going to be doing. Peterbilt Knife Guy, we're going to have a good time doing some more lives because I enjoy them. Even if there's 3, 4 people watching, I still enjoy it. So, guys, don't let don't let this jeans fool you, dude. Horse girls are the best. Oh man. Okay, on that subject, we gotta go because I gotta start being a farrier again and get some horse girls back in my life. Yeah, dude. Red flag number one and red flag number two is they have a little dog, a little sausage dog running around with them for sure. And they drive a beat up like 2003 Ford pickup. Sign me up, baby girl. Sign me up. All right, guys, we have steered the whole way off the road, tried to steer back on, and just continued to steer off. Thank you guys so much, Jared. Appreciate you. Peterbilt Knife Guy, well regulated, all you guys. And one last shout out to Very Good Knife Company and our buddy that we know and love, Jacob Peterson from Exodus Knife and Tool. So, guys, thank you very much. We have a corgi. I love you, man. That's great. That just made my whole night. I can picture it right now. You, your ex horse girl, and your corgi just riding around causing all types of hell. All right, guys. I'm gonna hit the hay. Well regulated, hit me up. I gotta tell you about something I was thinking about today. Thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, I hate these sausage fingers. Horse girls.